Thank you, Chairman, for starting this process.
The vote is on. Second vote is on.
I have voted.
Okay.
That's why
Great.
I'm here last. So we are good to go. We have another cabinet confirmation from President Trump, which is very exciting. We got to get his team in place. Thank you for starting this process. Thank you for getting this going. I think we need to kind of go back in time for just a little bit, not quite as much as in Back to the Future. Let's just go back to 2020. There was an election in 2020. The Democrats gained control of the Senate and the White House. And what's been the result? During the 4 years of President Trump, his first term, it was never better for working class Americans. Real wage growth grew. The middle class was doing better. Our economy was doing fantastic. The Republicans had passed the TCJA, which gave tax relief to all Americans. And we received, and this is very important, the federal government received a record amount of revenue. So even though there was tax cuts for the wealthy was the headline. By the way, that line is as old as dirt, and it's totally false. While the tax rates were cut, tax revenue was at a record level. It would be fascinating if there was just one Democrat that acknowledged that we received a record amount of revenue in the federal coffers. If you think to yourself, well, wait a second, like I'm a business guy, like if my revenue was at an all-time high and I was losing money, I'd say we have a huge expense problem. Like, oh my God, how could I get record revenue and yet have record deficits? Why? Because when you give Democrats control of our budget, what happens? I'll give you some examples. When my colleagues talk about how they defend the working class, I think the working class spoke pretty clearly on November 5th of 2024 and said, thank you, but no thank you. So what can happen in my old world of owning car dealerships? Mr. Chairman, you could walk into one of my dealerships, be a multimillionaire, pick out a beautiful custom-made Rolls-Royce Spectre where the audio system upgrade is $21,000. The logoed headrest in the back seat are $1,500. The umbrella with a logo could be 10 grand. You can lease that car. And thanks to the amazing and remarkable policies from the Democrat Party, the federal government will give you a check for $7,500. Think about that for just a second. That is a bill that became law called the Inflation Reduction Act, giving Rolls-Royce lease customers $7,500 lowers inflation, and every one of them voted for that bill. How did that bill become law, you ask? Did it get 60 votes? Rigorous debate? No. They did it through reconciliation. And Kamala Harris broke the tie-breaking vote so that multimillionaires could have their fifth vehicle parked in Palm Beach with a check for $7,500 thanks to the U.S. taxpayer. We have seen program after program that the Democrats are crying foul about, saying Americans did not vote for this. Oh, absolutely they did. Americans are sick and tired of political people here in Washington, D.C., spending our money and burning it. They're not even using it wisely. They're putting it into a pit and burning it. The reason I'm here and not on a beach in Florida today is because I was sick and tired of elected leaders here who spend their money in such a callous way and then coach it as, oh, we're here to help you. You're not helping us. They unleash generationally high inflation. They're more interested in giving hundreds of billions of dollars to foreign countries than helping the real people in my state and around the country who need help from our leaders. Look, I was in New York City where my daughter lived, driving down Fifth Avenue. There's a hotel that I remember going to as a kid. Incredible luxury hotel. We never stayed there. We had 7 kids in our family. My parents weren't going to be able to afford it. It's called the Roosevelt Hotel. And I remember my mom and dad looking at me going, that's where the rich people stay. Who houses Who stays in that hotel today? 1,050 plus rooms, all full every single day with illegal aliens at a cost of over $6,000 per room per night. Who owns the hotel, you ask yourself? The government of Pakistan. The same government that housed Osama bin Laden is getting upwards of $100 million a year for the U.S. taxpayer. My Democrat colleagues, God bless you if you're good enough to sell that crap to the American people. But on behalf of the people of Ohio and writ large, the people of the United States of America, it's time for the United States government to do what every household has to do and balance their damn budget. We're sick and tired of wasteful spending. We're not going to put up with it anymore. And Chairman, let's get started.